Welcome to our second episode of the On Track podcast. Today I would like to welcome Andrew, Darian, and Skylar. I'm Bree, and today we will be discussing net neutrality. We want to thank On Track for supporting the production of this series, in which we will be discussing topics that are both relevant to our past, present, and future, and that are also interesting. So, Andrew, what exactly is net neutrality?
Well, net neutrality is basically a protection for a free and open net. And Wikipedia says that under an open internet schema, the full resources of the internet and means to operate on it should be easily accessible to all individuals, companies, and organizations.
Can you explain a bit more about that?
Sure. So basically, it's the principle that internet service providers, so Comcast, stuff like that, should enable access to all content and applications regardless of the source and without favoring or blocking particular products or websites. So basically, a free and open internet means that it allows everyone to access anything that isn't illegal.
And so they're trying to end that?
The FCC passed something that will abolish net neutrality, and I think it goes into effect in April 25th. And actually, Washington is putting things into effect that will help protect it in this state. So basically, it's important because net neutrality can influence people's ability to access websites and to freely share their views and opinions even, and can give large internet service providers, ISPs, the ability to charge more money for access to specific websites and to throttle internet speed to websites that may increase their business. So essentially making them more money.
So basically, like, say I got an iPhone and I really didn't like it and I wrote a bad review about it, they'd be able to hide that?
Possibly, if Apple paid an internet service provider enough money to block any bad reviews. In another aspect, Apple could pay more money to block like Android websites that talk about how great Android phones are, or block websites that, or Android could do the same thing for Apple websites that talk about how great Apple phones are.
Just seems like it just caused a lot of chaos.
Yeah, it does.
It will anyway.
What do you mean by that?
That they're already having such a battle that I don't think I want to see it because I don't care.
What do you mean?
Like, if it's being blocked, I won't care because I don't want to hear it.
Hear what? Like,
I don't want to hear their battles. Like,
between Apple and Android?
Doesn't matter.
Well, in a way, it does matter because, that's just an example. Say, for example, you love, I don't know, what do you love? You love video games.
Yeah.
Right? So what if the people that made Call of Duty, Activision, blocked or paid money to an internet service provider, i.e. Xfinity, say your internet is provided by Xfinity,
yeah,
and Activision paid money to them to block websites about, I don't know, what's another game you love?
Halo.
We'll just say that for example. Say you love Halo.
Okay.
You're biggest Halo fan in the world.
No.
And Activision paid money to Xfinity to block websites about Halo. And now all you can play is Call of Duty, and there's no Halo left in the world, and you're terribly, terribly sad.
Oh.
Would you still not care?
I'd probably care.
Exactly.
But Halo wouldn't be removed from the world. It just
Well,
wouldn't show up on websites.
That's the thing. Say you love reading articles about Halo. Then you can't read any more articles. But, that's just an example.
Yeah.
It can apply to other situations.
To anything, basically.
Yeah. So, this is an important issue, at least in my opinion and in many other people's opinions. So how can we help protect net neutrality? Because I know Washington State has already had a couple ideas. So what do you guys think we could do?
But, how exactly are we going to keep net neutrality? Because we use the same internet provider as, people from Oregon or California, and so they have it taken away, but we still have it. How would that work out?
Well, I'm not 100% sure how it works, but basically Washington can put laws in effect for Washington State only that prevents businesses doing that in Washington State. Now, that doesn't mean they can't do it in Oregon or Idaho or California. It's for Washington only. But so how do you guys think?
I mean, lately they've had a lot of marches for different issues.
So, voicing your opinion, basically?
Yes.
All right. Well, actually, that's a good idea, and not just protesting in that way. We can actually write our state representative and voice that we support the CRA, the Congressional Review Act, to repeal the abolishment of net neutrality rules. So basically that means if we succeed in getting the CRA to work, everything that the FCC chairman did would be reversed, essentially. So net neutrality would remain in place, and we'd be peachy.
I just don't understand why they're focusing on this for the internet and not focusing on, like, taking down horrible websites.
Well, I think a lot of that is sometimes it's hard to do that, because what constitutes horrible? Like illegal?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of them are taken down, but sometimes it's hard to take them down because the people that set them up are, good with that type of stuff and have, proxies in place that protect it. So even if you take it down, it might not be down all the way, and, that's a completely different subject. But so what are there any positive outcomes from the loss of net neutrality?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, maybe not for us. Maybe for businesses that could make more money, but that's in their own favor. And negative outcomes, there are many. So, do you think the loss of net neutrality could possibly influence education?
Probably.
Yes.
How so?
Because some major websites and things that have actual news on them and that kind of thing just won't work.
Mm-hmm.
And won't be seen.
What do you think, Bray?
Well, I don't know. I guess it'd be the same thing as the whole video game example, where it's like, so we use Khan Academy and Blackboard, and it'd be like Khan Academy pays, and then we don't see Blackboard anymore.
Or the other way around.
Yeah.
Or like what Darian said with news, say Fox News pays a crap ton of money to
block CNN.
Yeah, block CNN or block New York Times, or Democratic news websites could block Republican news websites and vice versa.
Yeah, wouldn't get proper education because most of the education nowadays is online.
Yeah, so maybe it wouldn't influence education in schools as much, but maybe more people that like to self-educate. And students and young people nowadays are becoming more and more aware and interested in the issues around the world and what exactly is happening around them. So, that could prevent them from realizing certain things and learning and becoming a more responsible and aware citizen in their town. I don't know if I elaborated enough on what exactly a free net would look like. Should I get a little more into that, do you guys think?
Sure.
Okay, so basically, a free net means the internet will serve its original purpose, which is to share information between peers without hindrance or interference. The abolishment of net neutrality could mean the end of a free net, giving large companies the ability to close off certain sites unless users pay an additional fee for an extra site package. I was doing air quotes there.
Like how,
by the way.
Like how cable,
yeah, exactly.
Showtime,
like how
HBO,
cable companies operate today. For example, the standard package would include news channels, community television channel, and maybe a couple others. But if you pay an additional fee, you gain access to the sports channel or HBO, like Darian said, or MTV or whatever.
No.
The internet was originally designed to share information between scientists, I believe, to share their theories and scientific findings at high speed for ease and comfort, but now it has evolved more into almost a necessity of life. Job ads are mostly online. People can sign up for bank accounts and welfare online. They can cash their checks online with their phones. Virtually everything that once required you to walk and take the bus to go somewhere, to fill something out, to do something, you can now do in your house if you have free access to the internet.
I've seen a lot of jobs that only let you apply online.
Yeah, and there's a ton of ads on Craigslist. There's websites made specifically for jobs. There's websites made that let you post your resume, so businesses can find you on there and ask if you would like to work for them. And another thing the abolishment of net neutrality could do is potentially limit bandwidth for people who do not pay as much for their internet service, which means they don't have as high of speed, like way slower than the internet you pay for is now, which could restrict people from accessing important websites such as banking websites, welfare websites, or websites that let them do their taxes, websites they may need to access to find out something about a medication they take. Mm-hmm. Even as extreme as finding the number to a suicide hotline or a home crisis hotline, something like that. So that is something negative about net neutrality. And so far I have not found or thought of anything positive about the abolishment of net neutrality other than it would make internet service providing companies more money.
I feel like that's how it's just become nowadays. People only care about money.
Yeah.
And not other people.
Yeah, that's why they're not doing cancer research or letting cancer medication that exists put into pharmacies, because pharmacies will be
if you
run out of money because they're
if you're a person with cancer, then they don't have to pay for medication.
Yeah.
And the medication company is not getting money, and that's all they want.
Yeah. So they're like, no.
And I think that's almost more of a problem than abolishing net neutrality itself, is because the whole point for the FCC to do it is that they will make more money. Because otherwise, what's the point? I've heard people argue that it's for the free market, but when does the free market become more important than other people and their happiness and well-being?
Well, that wraps up our thoughts on net neutrality. Thank you, Darian, Andrew, and Skylar, for taking the time to talk about this issue. We would like to once again thank On Track Academy for giving us the opportunity to create this podcast. We hope you all have a great day, and we're looking forward to next time, where we'll be talking about alternative learning.